get started.
No one's gonna be
Order.
Thank
Call
you.
to order.
Thank you. Thank you.
Starting the meeting at 7:08 p.m., Thursday, September 27th. We'll do the roll call. Craig Radow, myself, here. Marcia Newman.
Here.
Michael Piscatelli, excused absence. Patty Kirby.
Here.
Patrice Berlin.
Here.
Alex Isbicki.
Here.
Rachel Tobias.
Here.
Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So motions pass at 4. Okay, so if you bear with me for a moment, well, first of all, the approvals from the last meeting, the meeting was recorded, and that could be found on the Studio City Neighborhood Council YouTube channel. So if you bear with me for a moment, I'm going to read some prepared notes, some updates. I think it's important for those tuning in at home. Hello? Okay. So, you know, this hardworking community deserves better. We simply have the right to feel safe. And based on what I see, what I hear, what I read, and what is reported, that is currently not the case. The problems we face are real. I'm not going to dive into the latest crime stats, but to sum it up, year to date versus the same period last year, the good news first is property crimes are apparently down, while violent crime is up in our North Hollywood division, and this is unacceptable. If anyone is interested in details of the crime stats I'm referring to, you can see me after. I'll be happy to email you the full report. I just received it today. Some other general updates in this area. You know, at the end of the day, as best we can, this committee aims to be about action and fighting for positive results. So, some updates. In late August, the Public Safety Committee here created and sent a proposal for more officers to our Councilman Krekorian. The proposal was also sent to Councilman Ryu, their teams, and leaders in the LAPD. To date, we have received a reply from Councilman Ryu, which I will quickly share. Dear Mr. Radow, thank you for contacting the office of Councilmember David Ryu regarding your concern with LAPD presence in your neighborhood. In an effort to reform the fundamental way that the City of Los Angeles allocates its police officers, Councilmember Ryu and City Council have instructed the LAPD to develop a comprehensive plan to reevaluate the department's basic car plan. The basic car is essentially LAPD's regular patrol cars. The study is currently underway, and it will seek to address some fundamental issues such as updating our neighborhood patrol boundary maps for the first time in more than 20 years, recommend where to expand the current number of basic car areas or number of basic cars. 3, assess the need for additional senior lead officers. 4, identify geographical and traffic-related LAPD response time challenges. As the study is taking place, we will provide your suggestions to the working group reevaluating the basic car plan. In the most immediate term, Councilmember Ryu has been advocating for increased officers throughout Council District 4. Just so you know, we are Council District 2. The council member is pleased to see that LAPD stations throughout the district recently augmented their patrol size, and he is continuing to push for more creative solutions to policing in our city. Okay, so additionally, I attended the LA Board of Police Commissioners meeting a couple of weeks ago. I waited about 3 hours for a chance to present our proposal and state my case to our new police chief, Michael Moore. Copies were left behind for the chief and commissioners. I'm hopeful that this effort at least places the East Valley's needs on the chief's radar. Once again, if you would like copies of this proposal, please email me or see me after the meeting. In August, the Studio City Neighborhood Council passed 14-0 a public safety motion requesting Councilman Krekorian to report to the community as to why there is a lack of sufficient police and patrol covering Studio City, and neighboring East Valley communities. I believe this was a reasonable request, as councilmen in other districts have worked on similar studies. I followed up with Krekorian's office yesterday, and to date I have not heard back regarding feedback. Finally, there have been numerous posts on Nextdoor regarding conditions at CVS on Laurel Canyon and Ventura Boulevard. This is the one on the south side. I sent an email on Tuesday to CVS, and on Wednesday I did receive a call from Chad Agel, CVS district leader. Some takeaways from the conversation. He did seem well-versed in the issues surrounding the store and is actively working with both his leasing and facilities department in making improvements. He seems committed in getting the store and parking lot in better condition. One of the biggest takeaways is starting next week, he has implemented a security patrol inside and out of the store for 5 nights a week from a Wednesday to Sunday, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. This is up from 3 nights a week that was implemented earlier this summer. He did want to convey that between CVS and Starbucks is owned by 4 different owners, so he's working. So it's making everything a little bit more difficult. But his leasing team is making progress, and especially maintaining the trash. And he did want me to share that he wants to make sure CVS stays in good standing with Studio City, and he would like to be updated on progress and your thoughts. And I have his direct number if anyone wants. Councilman Krekorian's office did share with me late yesterday that they are also aware of the CVS store issues and that they've been working with the attorney who represents the land where CVS sits for several months now. So they, and the bid is also involved. So those are my updates. And I look forward to Team Belly Buster joining us tonight. Did I say it right? Bully, damn.
But we do bust belly.
Oh, yeah, belly. When I wrote it, I wrote belly at first, and then I'm like, no, bully. So thank you. And I'm looking forward to their self-defense tips, which hopefully we won't have to use. So we'll take public comment right now on any non-agenda items, and we'll take it from there.
Well, to me, the red flag.
Okay, just speak loud then.
To me, the red flag, Craig, what you just read back from, was it Krekorian's office that they're working on the CVS thing also? You just said we've been working on it for several months. The several months is the red flag. It doesn't take several months to work with someone to solve a problem like that. So to me, that's immediately that's wrong. Several months design something ridiculous.
Yeah. Additional public comments? Okay. So, we're going to dive right into a couple of motions to vote on this evening, and then we'll move on. Okay. So, agenda item number 5. What we'll do is I'll read the motion, I'll give you my thoughts of why I placed this motion, we'll open it up to public comments, to board comments, and then we'll vote. Simple enough. Okay, both NBC4 and the LA Times have shared key recent coverage on politicians receiving LAPD officer protection at numerous events outside of Los Angeles and even outside of California. While East Valley communities, including Studio City and North Hollywood, desperately seek additional LAPD patrol in their neighborhoods, we find this out-of-town allocation of officers at taxpayers' expense very disappointing. Therefore, requesting the same information, the Studio City Neighborhood Council supports the LA Times, who filed a lawsuit requesting Mayor Eric Garcetti turn over records detailing the taxpayer expense of his own security detail during his numerous out-of-state travels after both City Hall and the LAPD refused to release the documents through the California Public Records Act. Articles discussing the topics were attached and linked in the agenda. Why did I bring this motion forward? You know, I was actually pretty taken aback when I read these press articles. What bothers me personally is that, you know, on one hand, we're told that there is a lack of officers in this city, and then on the other hand, to learn that officer resources were being utilized for out-of-town travel. Possibly campaign-related at taxpayers' expense. This is troublesome, and I am putting this motion forward to show our appreciation to the LA Times for questioning these activities, and at the same time, simply to remind the city that we're monitoring the situation as well. So we'll open it up if anyone has any public comments here tonight. Simply no. Board comments. Marcia?
I mean, it's not disappointing, it's disgusting.
It's unfair.
Let's get a dollar figure. We're not dealing with a reallocation of officers. We need more officers. They just need to have a police force that is proportionately serves the growing community. And the community, particularly our community, North Hollywood, since the last census, 2008, we did a little internal study here. The population has grown 20%, right?
I don't think it was quite that much. It was from 2000 to 2008 was 9%.
Okay.
But possibly quite more since 2000.
Okay, let's just say it's 15%. I'm just throwing that out. It's not documented. And we have not had one increase in officers. Now, I did also go to a police commission meeting when they were interviewing for the new police chief, and I actually spoke to the police commissioner, and I said, I call it New York shaming. New York City has over 6 million people. They have 40,000 officers. We have 5 million and 10,000. And I mentioned that to the police commissioner, and his response was, it's because we pay our officers so much money.
Right. That's the whole thing.
Any additional thoughts on this agenda item?
That's
No.
exactly what it is.
Patrice?
Is this strictly Garcetti that we're talking about?
It's interesting, and the timeline of this is in July, the LA Times sued to get security costs for Garcetti's trips. Then, forgive me if I'm not getting it right, in September or shortly thereafter, when Pamela, is it Pamela? No, wait. Who's our California senator? Forgive me. Kamala Harris. There you go. Camila Harris. Right.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. That's what was getting me confused.
Did TV
Um,
today.
Oh, I said that. Yeah, you said that.
Okay, so in July is when the LA Times sued LA after the city refused to turn over their records for the travel. This was handled by Times reporter Dakota Smith, and she made repeated requests for the LAPD for detailed information for providing security for Garcetti and his family. The LAPD declined to provide the information, saying it could put the mayor and his security team in danger. So far, the city has not provided any public records in response to the August and April requests. Each time, the city told the Times that it would provide more information or records, only to reject the requests soon afterwards. Then, in September, NBC4 broke the news. The LAPD also provides dignitaries official visits outside for dignitaries visiting LA, but a senior retired department official said the courtesy extended to Senator Harris for her travels to other cities, which was deemed unprecedented. And Mayor Eric Garcetti's office said the mayor was unaware of this unusual arrangement until July, when it was shut down by LAPD Chief Michael Moore. So it was not until Chief Michael Moore, who was sworn in, conducted an assessment and reevaluated the situation. At that point, and this is where it gets interesting, the decision to end the out-of-town security program for Harris was made around the time the LA Times filed a lawsuit that demanded Mayor Eric Garcetti turn over the records detailing the expense of his own security detail. But to date, it seems they still have not turned over the full details of his travel expenses.
Interesting.
And they are paying, in Mayor Garcetti's somewhat defense, they are paying for 6 of his trips. But they haven't released all the details, and just a bit of a problem.
Yeah, very interesting.
So I'm sorry that was a long answer, but.
No, it's good.
I'd like to know the impact that it's having on our area.
Exactly.
Right. How many people are we
What-
losing?
Good
What
comments,
tune of officers are being pulled from our neighborhoods?
Right?
Of course, there's no money.
Exactly. Anything else?
I'm done.
It's a political elite class.
Any comments, Patty?
That's it?
Alex?
Yeah, I mean, basically the problem is, what this gentleman had told you is the problem that's plaguing our whole city. Our city has really become its own entity. Forget political alliances. It's got nothing to do with politics. It has to do with a city that's basically created to just funnel as much money as they can to its workers. And the rest of us, let them eat cake, deal with it. New trucks, new infrastructure, new buildings, new supplies, everything is new related to our city officials, except we don't get anything. We just get what's left over. So when you talk about the police, I would guesstimate that our budget for our police in gross dollars is the same as New York City's, yet they have 3 times the police force. The reason why we can't hire more people is we can't afford to with the amount of money that they're being paid. That's the reality. Now, whether they slice and dice it through base salaries and they tell you, look, it's a base, and then they tag along the overtime and the other goodies that come with it, you're in a situation where we're literally left with very, very little coverage for ourselves. So they run the city, they get what they want, and we're left with what's ever left over to run the city, actually. But as long as their employees are all taken care of, everything is dandy. So this is coming to a crossroads now, because now we don't have basic services. We don't have police coverage. We don't have clean, safe streets. We don't have response times. Basically, then what is our city government doing for us? I'm sorry I'm going off on a tangent, but this is a macro problem. These are just symptoms, these little micro issues. What is our city finally doing for us where we feel safe and we feel like we're living in a nice, clean environment? Not much. So I'm sorry, I go off on that, but let's focus on the white papers. Let's focus on the salaries, because if we don't start controlling those salaries, there's never going to be enough money. If they get extra money, it's going to get funneled to these overtimes. Instead of hiring 3 police, we're going to give 1 police officer overtime and funnel that money out. But we won't have the coverage. So these are all things that are being done with a shell game here. And you guys got to realize it's by design. It's not just a mistake. And they just go, whoa, we didn't know. They know exactly what's going on. And we need to call them out on it. Thank you.
Well, first of all, other than overtime, I think police officers should get very good salaries.
Well, we're not talking about their virtuosity. That's not what I'm saying. They work very, very hard at what they do. But then you have to come to a realization that there has to be a relevant reality as to what's actually feasible and what's not. And if not, I would pay them.
New York City's budget is the same as ours for police officer salaries?
Yes.
It's a doubt.
I'm not saying if I said I would guesstimate that the gross budget for the policing of 3 times the officers is close to ours.
Okay, the other thing is, I couldn't hear everything Marcia said, but in the write-up of what you're proposing, could you possibly replace that word disappointing with like unacceptable or something a lot stronger than it's disappointing?
Good idea.
Yeah,
Disappointing, just.
that's what they want to hear.
Just kind of falls flat.
They don't care if we're disappointed.
No, but unacceptable, it's a stronger word.
How about uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
Okay.
Because I know you feel a lot stronger than disappointed. I know CBS feels that way.
Right.
Can I share something real quick? It's great you guys bring up this topic, and I'll share some input. I trained the LAPD officers, and the epidemic that we're having right now is not so much on financial, it's priority. You have to remember, Studio City, South Central. I have a police officer I'm training right now. He just got transferred from the I believe, what location is that? North Hollywood. He just got transferred to the gang division in South Central. The thing is, the homeless situation that Studio City is having right now, they don't look at that as it's an epidemic, but it's not a priority. Gang violence, drugs, and everything else is going on in other cities. They're putting their officers within that. We have enough officers, but what LAPD or the commission is doing is they're not saturating the police officers where they need to be. So, good example, about 2 weeks ago, we had homeless in front of our property, our apartment. And before I confronted them, I asked her to call the police department. And one thing we learned was the police department said that there's not really much they can do because they have more rights than we do. For them being there on that curb, on that sidewalk, that's exactly what they said. So I waited. They said they were going to bring a patrol to come by. It never came. And the only reason why I went ahead and made that effort is they started urinating right on the sidewalk, and where people are walking by, where there's people walking their dogs. I just had to do it. And I confronted them, and I had to put my effort and my tone to get rid of them. But just to hear the police department say that we can't really do much because they have more rights. So now we have police officers that are getting transferred to other places for higher risk neighborhoods. Because if you think of Studio City, you're thinking, well, what really is going on? And I would never know unless I moved to Studio City about a year ago, and I really got to see the epidemic that you guys are having on the homeless and the violence that goes behind that.
Yeah.
So that's
I've discussed that with a number of people, and the scary thing is, I alluded to it earlier with the North Hollywood Division violent crimes. I will read those stats now that I.
Increase, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the violent crime increase in North Hollywood Division, and this is year to date versus the same period last year. The violent crime increase in North Hollywood Division is up. Aggravated assault is up 10.8%, while the citywide it's down 0.6%. That was aggravated assault. Total violent crime is up 6.9% in North Hollywood, while citywide it's down 2.5%.
Wow.
And what was it? Just repeat that. The last one.
Total violent crime is up 6.9% in North Hollywood Division, where we all are, while citywide it is down negative 2.5%. So the scary thing is we're beginning to see those elevated level of crimes. Alex,
Yeah, well, what's funny about what you said is that we now hear, it's always an excuse. So we have these great hearings with a bunch of people that come by. Some of them are officers. And instead of having a back and forth, we have someone just telling us what's going on and why it's happening, even though we maybe feel differently, right? So the latest was they have all the rights and we have no rights. What's funny though, when I went walking down the river walk over here last week to meet some of our homeless, when I mentioned Burbank, they won't go to Burbank. Well, they said that they will knock them right out of there. So if the ACLU, which is a national organization, has just drug our city attorneys through the mud and just decimated them where they had to relent, why did they do it to Burbank, which is just 2 miles this way? So this is a question we should ask them. Why is Burbank and other cities, municipalities like Pasadena, everyone's having a little element of this, but nothing to what we're dealing with? It's almost like it was self-created. So why is our city attorney relenting, whereas these other Burbank saying, bring it on, bring it on?
Now let's stay on topic here. Let's vote on this motion.
Yeah.
And,
So anyways,
we
that's
got
an
a lot to
I
get
have an
to.
idea for the next meeting.
They won't go there though.
We'll hold that for the end when we can all make general comments. So we'll make that change, that sentences.
Yeah.
While East Valley communities, including Studio City and North Hollywood, desperately seek LAPD patrol in their neighborhoods, we find this out-of-town allocation of officers at taxpayers' expense unacceptable.
Yeah.
And then let's go down and vote. Marcia Newman,
Agreed. Yes.
Patty Kirby,
Yes.
Patrice Berlin,
Yes.
Alex Zbicki,
Yes.
Rachel Tobias,
Agreed.
and Craig Radau, yes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wonderful. Okay, that'll move on to the full board vote at the October meeting. Alex, why don't you do item number 6? This kind of stemmed
Okay,
from your
yeah.
idea and our guest tonight. And I
Yeah,
think it
I'm
was
so glad you're here, thank you. Well, it just came, some background is that basically we were thinking, this is happening, the numbers are speaking to that. Well, I think our city council office should, be held to some of the responsibility of protecting us, because we are being assaulted in the middle of the street, we are being verbally abused. I don't have any children, but I can imagine what it's like for someone to have their baby in a carriage and confronting something like this. Not saying it happens everywhere, but it is happening. So my thought was, why doesn't the council office pretty much cop to the issues that we're dealing with and provide our community some self-defense workshops on a regular basis until this crisis could be resolved? So my motion is to basically...
If you could read the motion.
Yes, the Studio City Neighborhood Council listens, as the East Valley faces increasing public safety issues regarding crime, the Studio City Neighborhood Council requests that Councilman Krekorian offer constituents an ongoing series of classes including, but not limited to, self-defense and home protection, as well as additional relevant public safety workshops related to emergency preparedness.
I threw that in.
Good job.
For you, Patty.
And again, just to mention that, it's really because they have to admit to what we're seeing and feeling and experiencing, and I think they need to do something about it, not just shrug and just, give us their excuses, so.
The Studio City Neighborhood Council listens to stakeholders' concerns regarding safety, and we recommend these informational free seminars to commence as soon as possible. Any public comment on this? Yes.
Well, you'll get tired of hearing from me, but
Yeah.
I've been tagging along to meetings for many months with like the office of the committee. I would really like to see Krekorian recall, a proposal to recall him, because not a damn thing has happened. And I've been coming to these meetings for months and months and months, and you guys are very intelligent and you're kind of like radical compared to other things, but it's time to get rid of this guy. At least create public,
I know, but let's keep it.
some type of publicity to put him on the carpet.
Thank
That's
you.
my-
Noted. Thank you.
As noted.
Any other public comments on this topic? Marcia?
Well, I do, thank you for, it's a very thoughtful proposal that you put together. I don't approve of it, I'll tell you why. It gets him off the hook. 100%. This guy, he's elected. Our taxes pay for him and his staff. We have been, maybe we're not forceful enough, we've been telling him, we have crime stats, and we've been repeatedly going after our city council member that we need more police officers in our area. And to deaf ears, this is just giving him an opportunity to blow that off, okay? First of all, self-defense. I know you guys are gonna give a really informative, demonstration here. It's like arming teachers in the schools. I mean, I have a teaching certificate. If I also had to train to be a sniper, I would just quit it. I mean, I live in this community and I want to live freely and happily and safely. I don't want to have to learn also to be a karate expert. It's not going to happen.
Thank you.
All right?
Good point.
But I have to just add one more thing. I think, this is a city committee. I think that one of the things we should do is have I don't know what you call it, where you sign a petition to have things changed, that we have a vote for it, maybe in an upcoming election. Speaking of which, I think for the election that's coming up in November, I don't know what's on the ballot for City of Los Angeles, but it's really hard to read those proposals. I think maybe we need to have our next meeting about what.
Well, that's why I assigned that to you.
Oh, okay.
You remember? And then your
Yeah,
daughter
I've
had
been
a
out of
baby.
town. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Okay, anyway.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. But anyway, the only thing we have is a vote. That's our
But
power.
still, why stop? I'm just saying, why would you not do something? What hook? There's no hook. He's not on any hook.
I think that, look, I think it's a really, knowing our council member, and he is blind. He does not hear the reports that we're giving
This
him.
is designed to supplant that, though.
What?
It's designed to
Then
fill
you
in
know
the
what?
gaps.
Then say
of what he's
supplant.
lacking, and
Use
then we
the
can
word
go recall him
supplant.
later.
Use the word supplant. That's important because we can't let him think that we're
Well,
gonna-
I don't want to just have people walking around confronting the whole nature of it was to help.
It would be interesting to know, our assembly member, Nazarian, is having self-defense class. He has one every year. How many people go to those things, It'd be interesting to see. Yeah, so,
Great. And we need one locally.
right, so having one locally,
Good.
yeah.
It's a new reality.
Thank you.
I don't think it lets him off, I don't think it lets him off the hook. It shows that we're being proactive. I understand what you think though, but it doesn't because we're gonna be on his whatever. Anyway.
Right.
So didn't Jessica say that they did have something planned?
I
Do you-
I pointed this out. I wanted to give her a chance to
Right.
respond, and I did send her this, that we were voting on this, that we were talking about this at today's meeting yesterday. She got back to me with other matters, but she chose to ignore.
I thought she said they had something in the works, but,
If they communicate these things to me,
Yeah.
it would be helpful.
right. So just one thing, and it's kind of off subject, but as far as voting, and I think one thing in the future that we should look at is when you get these booklets and you read about these proposals or whatever, no one understands. I don't know about you guys, but it's, you get
slanted
two
too.
sides and it's slanted
Yeah.
both ways. I think in the future, if we could get someone that can actually interpret it to where we could put that out there, it would be a good thing, where people
Marcia will
understand.
find that person for us.
Seriously, it's good thought.
Plus at the bar somehow.
Anyways,
Well, someone said something interesting on Nextdoor the other day. Maybe it was Nextdoor. They said the bar to vote yes. We need to have a higher bar to vote yes. You need to fully understand what that. And I thought that was a good comment because you have to think it through more, basically.
yeah,
For that
yeah,
yes
it's very
vote.
confusing.
Anything else on this?
No, I'm good.
I mean, I side with Marcia on this one. I think it's a good idea in theory. I think on a more local level, we can provide that for people, whether it be,
We should or we
classes.
shouldn't?
We should.
She
I don't
said
think
we shouldn't.
Krekorian needs to participate in that.
Well, I think it's in his feet that it's happening. I think it's his responsibility that we're having the increase. The spirit of why it was written, I'm sorry I didn't talk about that, I just read was that we are being accosted on the streets now. We are being harassed, and things are escalating. I think these encounters are getting more brazen. We had a break-in at Longridge that was a house invasion last week. My point is that we're just it's more, it's not symbolic per se, but it's putting it out there saying, you guys have regularly ongoing protection classes. Why would you have that? Well, because no one else is doing what they need to do, which is protect us. See, so it's not really, there is a practical component, of course, but a lot of it has to do with putting it in his face and saying, look, this is what we have to come to now because things aren't being done effectively. So we can just say, let's not do it. But guess what? People know they're off the hook and they're going to remain off the hook. And so we maybe, enlist another strategy.
Shaping up to be an exciting vote here. this evening.
So say no, but it just puts us at zero again.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Real quick, to what you were saying, you're definitely right. I don't think we need to be able to be a sniper or a Jackie Chan or a Rocky to be able to stand up for ourselves. What people conclude about self-defense, here, we're not here to make you as a lethal weapon. What martial art and self-defense does, it gives you inner strength. So when someone's out there on that street barking at you, you don't get timid and shell up and walk away. The thing is, it's not so much of what we know, it's what we have in here. And when you train physically and mentally, it's gonna give you guys enough strength, not to beat up a grown man that's gonna wanna take your property or whatever you have on the street, but it's gonna give you guys enough strength to stand up for yourself. A bully is a bully. A bully can bully somebody. The minute you stand up to a bully, you're gonna pick on somebody else. What's going on, the epidemic and the homeless, what's going on right now, they don't know any better. Their mind is already set off from drugs and everything else. So whatever you tell them, it's not gonna change. But the minute you can stand for yourself, and the minute someone barks at you and you're able to stand for yourself, that changes a whole element. And this is what self-defense, what it does. What we do, or what you're gonna learn from somebody else, is not gonna make you a lethal weapon. What it's gonna do is it'll give you an inner strength to stand up for yourself. And that's what the people of SCNC needs to do, is stand up for itself. Is to basically, you can go after anybody else. But at the end of the day, when you walk out the streets and you go to your house and someone's walking with a cart and you tell them to go, stay away from my house, they're not just gonna go quietly. But the minute they bark at you, the problem is we're so easily to turn away and hide and call the police. And that's why we don't get the response. The minute you stand up for yourself. And how is that possible? It's like going to school. How are you going to go to college? Go to school. How are you going to get a good job? Go to school. How are you going to be strong enough to defend yourself mentally? Prepare yourself. And that's what self-defense does.
So it's classes like this you think are a benefit to the community?
Yes, because I can't promise you you're going to be a lethal weapon. I can't promise you you're going to beat up everybody out there. But mentally, physically inside, you're going to be strong enough to stand up for yourself. And that's what we want.
Thank you.
I just think that whatever we do, we need to be keeping our citizens aware of what we need to do, not only for self-defense and protection, but emergency preparedness, that's my thing, but because we are going to need each other when the big one happens or when someone does get attacked in your neighborhood. You're going to need, so any kind of awareness is good, and we just keep throwing things at Krekorian and see what sticks. And
I agree.
keep going at them.
Okay.
Crime is
I
up
think
10%,
we talked about
guys.
enough. Let's vote. Okay. Marcia Newman.
No.
I'm abstaining on this one. I'm
Patrice.
abstain.
Abstain. Patty Kirby.
Yes.
Alex Isbicki.
Yes.
Rachel.
What's the color? It's crazy.
Patty Kirby persuaded me. Yes.
God.
It passes. I'll be a yes. Passes 4 yeses, 1 no.
We're trying to protect you guys. That's all.
Okay.
It's not a bad thing.
So before we bring up Team Bully Buster, Patty, give up another plug to the great fair that you have working on. Tell the viewers at home.
This will be our third emergency prep fair. This year, we have the speakers from LA City, LA County, and Caltech, and they will be answering your questions on how to prepare, what do you have to do, how do you do it, and make sure that you understand how to get it done. It will be an interactive event instead of just standing up there talking to people.
Oh, more
They'll be
than last
walking
year.
through the, and it's going to be engaging.
It was an excellent, well-attended event last year. I highly recommend. Patrice, are we going to have a table or?
Quite honestly, I didn't know anything about this, so
Okay.
we're not a, yeah.
So
Okay. Maybe we'll connect with Janine. Seemed like she wanted to have a table.
Either way, we have an excellent
That's up to you,
facility.
I
We
guess.
have, last year we had over 350 people. We're expecting 500 this time. We're preparing for that. I really truly believe it's to your benefit to attend.
Okay. Great.
All right, you want me to do a update on CPAB?
Please.
I'm the CPAB on the Police Advisory Board, and we meet with Captain Graham every month, and we're the conduit between the police and the community and back to the police. And so there were takeaways from Captain Graham last meeting. Believe it or not, burglaries from motor vehicles are still up because people leave their key fobs in their cars. We've said it over and over, month after month, but over 60% are because people leave their cars unlocked or their keys in their cars. believe it or not. The other thing is that, because we are down on, we're not actually down on officers, but we need more officers. Things that we can do as neighborhoods in our neighborhood is increase our lighting, increase our video cameras, and yes, it's putting the onus on us, the homeowners, but the more that we can call in and report, it just wasn't a red car, it was a red car with a blue top, or the guy was wearing a hoodie, and more of a description, and also to keep reporting suspicious activity. I wasn't even aware that when someone's going up and down the street with a flashlight looking in your car, it's not a crime. But if they touch your car, it's a crime. Report it. And that adds to the statistics of reportings in our area. So we see this guy walking up and down, it is a crime. It doesn't mean it's a high priority call, but it gets recorded.
Yeah.
So, and that's what a lot of neighbors are seeing is guys walking down with flashlights. But the minute they touch the car, it's a crime.
Patty, were you at the Toluca Lake neighborhood watch meeting with Captain Brown?
I was
Give an
there very
update?
shortly because I couldn't stay the whole time. But there was a great report made by the Toluca Lake has an incredibly great neighborhood watch captain group, and so they're on it, So
Are they facing issues in Toluca Lake?
they're facing a lot of more home burglaries because of the housing pricing is higher there, and so they are inundated. And so they've all gotten together and they have hired patrol service. They have 138 homes registered in just that little area south of Cahuenga. So that's something we also have to talk about some more is private patrol, again, letting them off the hook, but we got to do something,
Is there a way of, I know we've talked about it in the past, really gritting out the neighborhood watch? It seems like there are pockets that have neighborhood watch, and now I know you're involved with one. I really think we need a group effort.
We do have a map of where we know of neighborhood watches, and it's hard to keep up because some get active, some go
Right.
down. But we do have, each senior lead officer has a map of all of what's covered, and then tries to get to each one of those ever so often. Another thing is if you see light in your neighborhood, get rid of it as fast as you can,
Yep.
because that attracts the homeless to your neighborhood. So any couches or chairs or things sitting out on the lawns,
311 app.
get rid of it. 311, My LA 311 does work, and they're supposed to report back to you when it's cleared up, and if not, you can follow up. You get a case number, so it's important to follow up on My LA 311. And then again, just when you do report a crime, report it with as much detail as you can, with license plate numbers if you can, which is hard to do at night, but to be proactive.
So, sort of had this conversation next door. Of all the crimes I've caught on my fancy cameras, not one vehicle has ever had a visible license.
But but the more detail that is described about that car with paper plates, the more chance. There's a detective, I'm going to tell you about this. There's a detective in North Hollywood that has a special gift. He found a criminal through a photograph from a homeowner. He had a long sleeve shirt on, but it was lifted up just a little bit, and he saw the end of the tattoo, and he traced it back to other crimes, and they were able to capture him because of the neighbor's video.
And I will say, so I told Craig this, told other people, that recently, I think the lighting has it's an advantage and a disadvantage. So they recently got on camera a whole break-in of somebody's car. And when I looked at the footage, I just put in new lights in front of my house. It's like a tennis court. It's obnoxious at night. The upside to that is it goes color. This was at 3:30 in the morning, so I have color video of most of it. But the criminals chose to park in front of my house to manufacture a tool to go break a window in a car around the corner because it was so bright. I mean, they're brazen now. So,
Yeah.
Back to the point about light in the neighborhood, I think it is essential. On Colfax, the subway, Colfax and Ventura Boulevard, graffiti, a huge amount of graffiti was there one day. I was driving home and I'm like, I'll try the 311 app for graffiti. I've done it for sofas. And I'll tell you, it was completed in 24 hours.
Good.
And I think that's really, really
It is
important.
one
So
thing that
thank you
is
for pointing
working,
it out.
by the way.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
You got it.
We talked enough. Thank you for your patience. Like I said, we get strong viewership at home, so not only the audience here, thank you for coming out. We'll move the table away. Do your thing. Rachel will be, if you need, no. Or should we, why don't we just put that here? Allison, yeah?
Where do you want this in the
I'll
audience?
just go right here.
It's all right.
I'll start with a couple questions, you guys, just food for thought. Who has a car here? Does everyone have a car? Does everyone have a car?
A
Yes.
car?
Yeah, a car, a vehicle. Yeah. Do you guys have alarms on your car? Yeah. Do you? Yeah. Do you? No? Do you guys have alarms? Like, do you push the? But do you push it? You don't have a. You use your key. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Do you guys have cars?
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yes.
just push your alarm.
Yes.
Preventative, right? Do you guys have health insurance? Yeah. Preventative, right? Sunscreen. Do you guys wear sunscreen?
Oh, yeah.
Preventative, right? Self-defense, you have to look at it the same thing. I don't want to have to fight somebody, although I'm an active fighter. I don't want to have to fight you. If you're attacking me, I don't want to fight you, but I want to get away from you. And I think that is what's most important, is understanding that we're not teaching you to be a ninja. If you want to be a ninja, I can teach you to be a ninja, but you don't need to be a ninja to get away from somebody. And that is what's so important. And understanding that preventative is everything. You have cameras on your house, correct? Right? You probably have an alarm system, right? A lot of people do. Why? Preventative. It's the same thing. We do things, we put on our seatbelts every day. Why? So that we are safe. So it's the same thing. Learning a skill to protect yourself is the same thing as investing in getting a car alarm, putting an alarm on your house, getting cameras, putting on your sunscreen, skincare, great vitamins for yourself, going to Whole Foods and buying quality food. Why? Because you love yourself and you care about yourself and you want to protect yourself. It should be the same thing physical, right? So if someone was ever to grab me and is pulling me to their car and I don't want to go and I don't know what to do, sure, I can do this and pull, and they're going to pull me, and now we're playing tug of war and my hand and my wrist is jeopardized, right? What do other self-defense classes teach you? Poke him in the eyes, okay? I poke him in the eyes. Big deal. Kick him in the balls. He still has my wrist. This is a problem. So assessing the problem and targeting the problem is everything. And having a little bit of knowledge of how to do that could save your life, right? So whether Garcetti, whether someone wants to care about it, who cares? I care about myself. I don't need some other man that's a councilman to tell me that I don't need this. I want this wherever I go, whether I'm in Studio City, whether I'm in Florida, whether I'm in New York, whether I'm in Cancun laying on the beach. If someone tries to hurt me, I need to know how to protect myself. So one small little thing that I would love for all of you guys, viewers, wherever you guys are, to know and to learn is if someone ever has your wrist and it's a cross grip, meaning she's taking the opposite. This is same side, right? This is cross grip. So if doesn't matter who it is, I'll call one of you guys up if you want to volunteer. I'm going to drive my energy towards her and I'm going to lift my elbow up in an upside down rainbow, which is going to free my wrist. It's going to manipulate her arm to a point where she can no longer hold it. And it's called leverage. It's not strength. It's not that I'm stronger than her. You guys see how tiny I am, right? I'm going to get away from this person who's trying to pull. So you're pulling. Careful, there's a camera behind you, so go right there. Good. So you're pulling. Boom. I'm free and I'm out and I'm away. Why not take the class? that is gonna teach you tiny little things that can save your life. I want to know if I'm walking out of CVS and some homeless, drunk man is like, hey, lady, blah, blah, blah. I want to get away and get out of here. And at least I did that for myself. So I'm going to go slow. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive forward and go underneath. Watch her hand. I'm going up. She can no longer hold it. It manipulates her hand, and now I'm free. I would come back with an elbow strike because I know that, but either way, I'm gonna get away from this person. Okay, so that's one. Does anyone want to try it with me, just to see? How about you? Come on up. Grab me as hard as you can. Hard, hard, hard. Pull me a little bit.
Oh my gosh, there's no way.
You cannot hold it.
That's amazing.
Why wouldn't every woman and every man want to know what to do? God forbid someone grabs them. As hard as you can. Hold it. Squeeze it.
How much can I squeeze?
Hold me.
I got it. Yeah.
Like that. Team Holy Buster. We're on the corner of Woodford and Riverside. Come. Learn how to protect yourself. You should know. You don't need to be a big, strong ninja warrior. It's not about that. But get away from someone who's trying to hurt you or that wants something from you, right? So same side grip, just in case someone grabs the same side. What do? I can do these things. They teach us that, right? That works. You know, maneuver. But let's just say it's a crazy strong grip from someone who's on PCP or drugs and has crazy strength. That might not work. But what will work is I'm going to start at the weakest link. There's 4 fingers here. The pinky's the smallest. I'm going to start at the pinky. If it's a strong pinky, I'm breaking that pinky. I do not care, okay? Then, if I'm going to start at the pinky and peel this hand all the way off me. I'm going to match it. Boom. This arm is completely compromised. That is a broken arm. I'm away. They're left with a broken arm. That's a very easy move. Anybody can do it. Why don't you come up and try it?
Oh, I
You
think
want to try it? Okay.
But you
Come up. Sure, sure. So you grab same side. Perfect. Hey, make it hard. You're not going to hurt me, I promise. Okay. We're here.
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Broken arm.
Can't
Okay? You can't hold it. So that's important information. Again, get away from someone who's trying to hurt you. Let's say some drunk guy comes up and tries to swing. Okay? He swings. I'm going to cover. I'm not going to do some karate thing where I'm going to try to block and hi-ya. I'm not doing that. You're going to hit me in the head. I'm protecting my head. That's number one. We should know how to protect ourselves. Someone ever tries to fight you or punch you or do anything, you don't need to be, the Matrix Keanu Reeves. It's not about that. Protect yourself. They're aiming for your head. Cover it, okay? So I'm going to cover. She's going to go for a strike. I'm going to cover. I'm going to go all the way around. Now I'm behind this person. They can't really hurt me from back there, but also I can control the situation. This is a very easy choke. Anybody can do it. I just taught my 4-year-olds in class how to do this, okay? So I can easily choke this person, lay them down, leave them here, whoops, and leave them here. I can squeeze it and put this person right to sleep and call 911. And that's exactly what I would do. I have a girlfriend who recently was sleeping in Burbank, heard a woman screaming, of course goes to look out the window, sees a girl and her boyfriend fighting, and it's a young girl, maybe she was 18, I wasn't there so I don't know, but she said young girl. The boyfriend and her screaming, the boyfriend has her on the car and is choking her. My friend who does jujitsu with me ran outside, put the guy in a rear naked choke, put him to sleep and called 911 and the girlfriend was fine. He was asleep. When he woke up, he didn't even know what happened. Everyone was safe from just a small skill that didn't require crazy strength, skill, just small techniques to help us protect ourselves. And that's what self-defense is about, getting away from someone who's trying to hurt you. It's also our responsibility to lock our doors. When we're pumping gas, lock your door. That is the biggest target. A woman pumping gas, her purse is in the car. They can just go to the passenger, go in, you wouldn't even know. You're pumping your car, right? So just being alert, being aware, not being on your phone when you're walking down the street and talking and blah, blah, blah. You are a target. I'm a target right now. You know why? This ponytail. That people with ponytails, they're targets. Pull my hair. Right? Someone does that to me, I'm immediately choking you. But that's an easy move. That didn't require like all kinds of stuff. Literally, I'm laying my arm over her shoulder. I'm putting this under her neck. I'm grabbing my bicep. I'm gonna go like that. It's just an aggressive hug. And then you squeeze. Boom. It takes 3 seconds. She will be out.
One more time.
I lay this is called a rear naked choke. I'm gonna lay my arm over her. The other arm is gonna go underneath the neck. Grab the bicep. This is coming in. I should be able to touch my forehead and slide it back. Put my ear close to her, squeeze, tap. Okay? So,
Push them down.
yeah, I would put them down.
Do they become unconscious?
100%. You're cutting off both carotid arteries. You're done.
So in this crazy
World.
criminal world
Yes.
that we live, could the homeless person sue you for,
Not at all. That's self-defense.
Let me just share something with you guys. So besides the LAPD,
Come up here.
I trained the Hawthorne SWAT team.
This is Coach Rod, who is also one of the coaches at Team Bully Buster, and also my coach, my fight coach. An amazing, tremendous blessing to the world, what he does, the people he's influenced, the people he has trained, including myself and so many other people. So definitely great information coming from him.
So I've always liked to ask questions like everybody else does. So all the police officers, when can I use what I know and when can I not use it? So if I'm a homeless person or anybody and I'm just talking crazy to her, she is not allowed to hit me. She is not allowed to touch me. The minute I touch her, she has every right to beat me down. The only time that she's gonna be at fault, so just say she goes ahead and I'm pulling her and she throws an elbow, bam, and I'm down on the ground. And she gets on top of me.
And I still...
And the cops come, I'm not in trouble no more. She's in trouble. That's not self-defense no more. The only time the police say that they would allow that to happen, if I verbally told her, I'm gonna kill you right now and I'm gonna shoot you, and she's a witness. She has every right to put me down and restrain me till the police comes. So back to your question. When is it allowed? The minute anybody touches you, even if I just do this, she can just do whatever she wants. This goes for kids, it goes for men and women, it doesn't matter. That is self-defense. But if I'm coming up to her like, you know what, I'm gonna take your money, I'm gonna do this, and she just cracks me, the cops come, there's witnesses, even though I threatened her, she put her hands on me, she goes to jail. So you have to remember that when you learn self-defense martial art, there is a code. You have a responsibility to restrain yourself, and you have to wait at the very last moment. And if I come right here and put your hands down, of course you never put it here, but of course you know self-defense. If I come right here, like, you know what? She can take me down. The minute I touch her, any part of her body.
I don't know if you guys noticed every time he drove towards me, my stance changes. I'm prepared, okay? This is very important, having a base, especially for women, because we're smaller, right? We're the ones who end up on the ground, on the bottom. But we're safe there. There's a lot of technique that you can learn that protects you. But I think one very important thing is just having a solid base. Same from all the way to someone trying to pull you, right? If my feet are next to each other in line, she can pull me, okay? If they're next to each other, she can push me. And I can go all the way down, right? Now, she pulls me, I'm not going with her. Now she pushes me. Doesn't matter. I'm based. So same thing, someone bear hugs me. I'm standing, this is scary, right? Watch how easy. You know who's really smart? Babies. Have you ever seen a baby not want to be held? What do? They base out and drop their weight. I dropped my entire base and lifted my arms up with the intention of getting free. I'll do it again, watch, same thing. This seems scary, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Forget all that, get away. Do not panic, know what to do. Drop your weight, lift, and get away. Okay? There's a lot of little things, women, men, small, tall, doesn't matter. Big, fat, it doesn't matter. Protect yourself. There's little things you can do, yeah.
What we were sharing earlier about the mental part, exactly what she said. She said, don't panic, don't get hysterical, focus. How do you do that? It's by training. You get mentally trained. If you repetitively practice this every day with us, There's no way you're gonna remember. If I teach you ABCs every day, a trig, you're gonna know it. It's the same thing with this. It's gonna give you the confidence and the mental part to really understand. So instead of going like, oh my God, it's just automatically, I'm gonna stop, all right. And she's gonna do exactly what she did.
Creating new instincts, and why not? We don't live in an awesome, beautiful world filled with butterflies and happy puppies running around and kissing us. Like, there's also monsters and big scary things and big horrible things happening in the world. So why not just do what we need to do to just make sure we have that little extra courage, that little extra confidence, that little extra technique or skill that will save your life? Come on, that doesn't make any sense. You should want to know to protect yourself.
At the end of the day, the last thing I want to do is use my martial arts in the real world, but if I have to, I'm confident as a woman walking around in LA that I have the tools in my back pocket, and I practice those daily.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing. I walk around with a confidence and with less fear, and that in itself is just so important for every human, for every woman, especially in the city, especially with this epidemic. So it's like, of course we don't want to use this off the mats.
Yeah, I don't walk around like,
Yeah.
who wants to fight me? You want
Hope
to fight
someone
me?
wants to
Like, I don't want to do that. I want to go about my life and go do exactly what I do every day. You know what I mean? Yes, question.
So, what about being confronted with a weapon?
We teach that too?
Knife, gun?
I want to elaborate.
Yeah, go for it. We teach that as well.
Okay. If I confront you with a weapon, this ain't the movies. Do not even disarm. It takes a second for someone to pull the trigger. It takes a second for someone, if someone's gonna pull a knife on you, 75%, they're gonna use it. 25% mentally, they still have that conscience, that conviction. 75%, they're gonna go for it. We are not asking you to defend yourself when it comes to that. The best thing we do is everything that you do here, any kind of martial art you do, anything, you always remember there's two weapons. Your physical contribution and your voice. So if she's defending herself, every time she's doing something, she's gonna be screaming and yelling at the same time. One situation, we went to a facility, and one of her properties she had, there was a homeless person laying in the front of the door. Before I got out of the car and confronted, I made sure to tell her, stop honking your horn. So by the time I get out, it doesn't wake him up, but it wakes up the other neighbors. So now they want to know, what's all this ruckus going on? So now they're looking, so now if I get into an altercation with him, now there's witnesses and there's people calling the cops. So I'm not just by myself trying to fight somebody. You gotta think ahead. So if someone pulls out a knife, I don't want a problem. Hey, I don't want a problem, okay? You gotta find a way. This ain't the movies. You know, next week I'm training a couple of LAPD officers. Besides doing their traditional boxing and kickboxing with me, they're bringing their sweats and shirts, and they're bringing their bulletproof vests and their belts. Because all this stuff does not work with your gear on.
All that gear
so now
on.
they have to come in without their gun, but just a holster and that weight. So they know how to use their body when it comes to using the martial art part of it. There's so many breakdowns. But back to your saying, sir, I do not suggest at all. There's Krav Maga, there's places like the Israelis tactical, but those are meant for police officers. Those are meant for
Not
soldiers.
for the average Joe that's on the
Right.
street.
I don't have another gun. If I defend that, if I disarm that gun, I don't have a gun to use. I am not going to risk my life. I'm not going to risk my life.
I have law enforcement background, but the problem with that is, I agree with you, that if someone is confronted with, let's say, a woman, a knife or a gun, and then they're told, come with me, bad thing.
Right.
Very bad thing. So, I mean, there's, one thing, by the way, is dropping and getting under a car, you can't be raped or assaulted under a vehicle. That's one way, potentially, to get out of a situation like that. But yeah, it's a very big problem if you're confronted with a weapon.
Yes.
Particularly a woman. And the last thing you want to do is to go with an assailant in that
Right.
situation.
Never want to get in the car. Yeah.
Never. And that's why self-defense, the tactical moves that we use, it's not just self-defense. There's names for what we do. These ladies are professional jiu-jitsu practitioners and fighters. Okay. And then besides that, I teach Muay Thai, Thailand boxing, and traditional boxing. It's one of the most well-known, deadliest art. And those are combined, and that's why it's called MMA, mixed martial art. How does that work outside of the ring in the cage? If I come with a knife, she'll know what to do. By a simple, my knife, the knife that I have is used what? What is it controlling? My hand. I'm not gonna be able to stab her from here. I'm gonna initiate. It's like a punch. It's like a punch. So now she's learning how to defend. So if I punch her, she's gonna defend. If I stuck a knife, she's gonna defend. And that's what you have to learn.
It's just being aware and trusting your body. Also, one important thing that I would like to leave with you guys is that your legs are longer than your arms. These are amazing weapons, women. Our knees are stronger than anything, right? The art of 8 limbs is Muay Thai. Teaches you your hands are weapons, your elbows, your knees, and your feet. These have a lot of bones in them, tiny little bones. We don't want to break them. I don't want to break the bones in my feet, but I do want to break his bones if this is someone that's trying to hurt me. So the clinch and kneeing, that powerful impact, and it's the perfect alignment. God was smart, that's right there. That's right there. One of those. Are you done? If you're hit there, full force, right? So clinching someone, understanding this right here. So I'm gonna turn just so they can see my hands. This right here is so powerful. I'm gonna turn you this way now. My forearms on his collarbones is a very controlling position. I can bring him down, throw, boom, boom. Notice when I'm throwing my knee, my leg's not right here. That's not, there's no impact there, right? That's marking. This zone is impactful.
And let's go back to what she said about the gentleman, about guys getting kicked over here. It really hurts. It really hurts.
Oh, it will leave them down for the count, enough for you to run and call 911 and get somewhere else.
The art of Muay Thai is basically to use 8 parts of your body as the strongest. Your elbow and your knees. You contact with this or this elbow, it's very devastating. So just say for myself, if I get into a fight in the streets, I'm a kickboxer, but I'm not gonna fight her, I'm not gonna fight him like I do in the ring. I've been doing this for 29 years, I've had over 60 fights under my belt. I fought as a boxer and I fought as a professional kickboxer. I am not gonna fight someone right here, because why? Because if a homeless person wants to get in a fight with me or whatever it is out there, I'm not gonna get into a fist fight. Because what's gonna happen is his aggressiveness, my aggressiveness and my adrenaline is gonna take away my technique. And now I'm just gonna go for broke. So the main thing I'm gonna use as a Thai boxer, I'm gonna use my elbows and my knees. So the minute he wants to punch me, I'm gonna cover, bap, 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 boom, and right in there. The minute I hit my knee in their chest, their face, they're done. They're done. And by that time, it's enough time for me to get help or somebody else to call help. Because everybody has phones. No one wants to do anything about it. I don't know if you know, 2 years ago, she was in the paper. She saved a life right there on Riverside and Laurel Canyon. A lady got hit so hard and she almost died. She was the only person that got out of the car and saved her life. And now that lady, she calls her mom. Because she took the chance and everybody else just watched and recorded.
Everyone screamed, everyone drove by, and everyone had their phones out as this woman lay right in front of Starbucks, between Starbucks and Gelston in the crosswalk, dead, like damn near dead. And everyone was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, driving, recording, and I was like, what in the world? And I got out and thank God I saved her, and she lived. She had 2 major brain surgeries, staples in her head, was in a coma for...
What happened to her?
She was walking across the street, walking from Starbucks to Gelson's. A woman coming up Laurel Canyon made a left to go onto Riverside and didn't see her in the crosswalk or the people in the crosswalk. There was 4 people in the crosswalk, a couple and their little dog, Barbara, the lady that I saved, and then another guy. The woman made that left and was not paying attention. It hit her. She hit the windshield. I was at the stoplight going straight and saw the whole thing and just literally dashed across in my car and jumped out, and everyone was just screaming and panicking and had their phones out, and I was just like, this is crazy. Of course, I called 911. Yeah, it was July 15th, 11:30 in the morning, so it was hot. It was 2 years ago. Remember that hot summer that we had? So I shielded her, and I just left the chiropractor, so I had ice. and I iced her body and I iced her head and I just stayed with her and I was talking to her and I was rubbing her and keeping her cool. And thank God I did that because it kept her brain from swelling to the point of past of no return.
Was it a hit and run?
No, the lady stopped, but all she did, she was in shock and she was just saying, am I gonna go to jail? Am I gonna go to jail? Am I gonna go to jail? Like on repeat, probably 219 times. Like, I don't know.
And what I meant by that story is, if you get into a situation, it's a good chance no one's gonna help. But guess what? They're gonna be on that phone. Everybody has their phone now, and everybody will call. The question is who's gonna make the stand to help one another? That's
And
the
help
main thing.
yourself, protect yourself.
You have a question?
And what you do is fantastic, it's very valuable. People don't understand, because we watch films and television, where these cops, whoever gets into a fight, or criminals, and they take so much beating, and they walk away with great, it only takes one or two of those actions that you're taking
Absolutely.
to really knock someone out.
Absolutely.
Seriously injure
Absolutely.
them and stop them.
Yes.
It's not, television is a joke.
Yeah, yes.
People need to understand that.
Stop the threat and leave.
Right.
And get away.
It doesn't take much to really break someone down when it's done properly.
Correct.
It's not to be over them
And to fight and to be, no.
So good.
to pummel them to right, to submission.
Right.
Your job is to get out of the grip.
Yes.
To get out.
Yes.
That's why I think these classes are great, because people will start interacting. You'll touch somebody now.
Exactly.
Women and women, you have to be used to being, striking.
On point.
So back to what you were saying.
You don't even know what any of your extremities do.
And it has to be almost automatic.
Right.
You want to create instinct.
So the police officers that I train, I don't train them to beat people up. Just enough time. The response time is 2 minutes, but now it's going 5 minutes. So now if you're patrolling by yourself, he needs to have enough time to able to defend himself without using his gun or anything else. Because tasers might not work, his expanded baton might not work. So he's able to defend himself, not to be able to say, look, I'm a cop and this is what I know, but enough time for a response team to get there. And that's what we do. We teach the police department to give them enough time for the response, because sometimes they patrol by themselves. It went viral. This one cop got picked up by this one gentleman and got suplexed and right into his head, and it was so crazy. And then when you ask the police officer, how come there's not a lot of you inside of our gyms or martial art gyms? Because the city don't fund us to do this, so it comes out of their own pocket. And sometimes they don't live in the same city they patrol. They live far away, and where they
Most
live
of them
is they
live
don't
far.
have that.
Yeah.
So again, police officers, they're like anybody else. They don't have the right resources. So the ones that are making a change are the young police officers. They're getting into this mixed martial arts and martial arts. But guess what? It's not just meant for them. It's meant for you. I'm a father, and one day, I want to make sure my kids are able to defend. You guys are able to defend yourself. And the sky's the limit. We just need you to have enough to make that step and have the courage to step in that gym, and try it out. But we're not gonna guarantee you're gonna be a lethal weapon. But at least
You can get
we
away.
can sleep at night and knowing
Absolutely.
it's self.
How they can reach you.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for having us.
No, don't apologize.
This was
If
perfect.
one life is saved, I'm happy. This is my life. I dedicated my life to doing this. I play a fighter on television. I'm a pro wrestler. I opened a gym to teach women and children how to fight. Like, this is what I do and who I am. It's in my DNA.
So it's just like CPR. I've taken like 4 CPR classes. I never thought I'd use it. I had to use it. And boy, did it pay off.
And you save someone's life.
Self-defense is no different.
Although he died choosing.
I will give all of you.
And just so you guys know, she is the only one has ever opened up an all women and children self-defense martial art gym. There's not one. They're all co-ed. She is the only one. She went out of her heart and her passion for women and children, and she opened up a gym for just women and children. Oh, thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
I think people do know we record these, and Peter does a great job that they do watch it at home. So I know that these tips will be very, very valuable. And you have a website?
Yes, team. Right now the website is down. If you guys, anyone wants to check us out, you can go to Yelp, Facebook, Instagram, Team Bully Buster. We've got all 5-star reviews everywhere. We love what we do, and it's a great place. It's a great thing.
I love what you do, and I appreciate that you did share.
Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I think we're all.
Whoa, these are on it. Yeah. These are old. But I like them. Those are eggplant.
I just have one comment.
Oh, I know. I already
Yeah,
told you.
you have a comment.
Right. And then all of a sudden, I'm just.
I like the pink patty.
I know it, right? And I hear what you're.
Patty.
We're just gonna take 2 minutes and wrap things up.
I want to know how to protect myself, regardless if I'm in studio. What's his name? Yes. Use the other one. Use your elbow. Need to know where you yeah. Just awesome. You know? But I also do.
You can go. I didn't do it all.
I'm just
I put it back towards the audience.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up, guys.
Marcia, excuse me, do you have any final comments? We'll just do
We have
committee
to wrap
comments.
it
We have to
up.
wrap it up.
Officially.
Yeah, but we can still hang out. We can still hang out.
You could hang out, just
Yeah.
give one moment. Patrice, any comments?
So what I'm thinking is, rather than asking Krekorian to do classes like this, why don't we have the neighborhood council? Why don't we try putting in a motion to the neighborhood council? We've got plenty of money in our budget to hire these guys to do the same thing.
Because then
Why can't we do
It falls
that?
back on, it's just another thing that falls back on us. And you can bring this up to the board.
But
We can do
look
the
at 'em.
venue, but I like the Krekorian. My point was that I'd love for Krekorian to know that we're doing this because of his lack of action.
Sending a message.
We're sending a message
No, I understand
too.
that, but getting
I don't
them
wanna
to do
insulate it
anything,
from him.
if we put in a motion to do it ourselves, there's plenty of money in the budget for something like this. Like once a month we did beginner classes for,
that would
for
almost-
women
that-
and
that
kids.
would take 'em
You
off
could
the
do it
hook.
in the park, you could, but he's,
It's fair point, bring it up to the board. No, I mean,
The
but
way it
I'm
is
fine,
now,
you're
I'm
gonna
not
send
I
that
can't
out.
set it up.
I think the neighborhood council could assist in our area.
Yeah.
If they spearhead it, but it is, like Marcia said, that is even letting them off the hook even more. Like,
yeah, that's worse.
You know, here's,
Now we're insulating him.
Facilitate a session.
I said I'd work with Jessica on this.
Yeah, let's work with the council office. They can even use it as a feather in their cap.
I mean, they already don't get a lot of things done. I think they're shrunk thin because.
we want police.
well,
It
see,
seems
the
like that
thing
should
is
be the
this, he's
priority.
concerned about one thing, pleasing the mayor in reelection.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay? He doesn't listen to us, to the needs of the community.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, but that's a
let's
big
run-
issue.
I think
That's
I
a
should run
macro
for his
problem.
City council, really, because you know what?
So
I
let's
wouldn't care about
secede.
anything else. I would just want to deal with what the community needs. And I just wouldn't care what the consequences are.
Well, maybe the petitioning, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta put the metal to the
Yeah, but
pedal
doing
to the
nothing
metal.
isn't going to do
Bring it,
it.
as you see, if you bring it to the committee, you bring it to me, we'll put it on our.
Yeah.
Everybody has to agree on this, though. If you guys don't want us to ask the board about this, if you'd
What's that?
rather ask Krekorian first and see if you get anywhere with that.
No,
The motion's been passed. The motion's passed.
No, I know that, but we can wait and see if they do anything, or we can go to our board and ask for our board to do
But you
something.
gotta remember, right now, I can't get Patty $300. I can't get paid back my funds for.
Hey, I
You
paid
can't-
for
yeah,
dinner
yeah,
in
so
July,
to
and
ask
I
the
haven't
board to
gotten
give us
paid.
money right now, things are not moving. So
You say they have a lot of money?
But a lot of these groups
Yeah.
are willing
Really?
to
It's our-
do
yeah, we have
demonstrations
like a
like
budget
that.
of
Well, they're willing to do a demo,
Generate.
but they
How
have
come
to
you
gotta
guys
pay
don't get
'em.
reimbursed?
Exactly.
You know, this
Yeah.
was a promo for their business.
Right.
Okay. Any comments, final comments?
They're not sending in the proper paperwork.
Alex?
Seriously.
Cityhood.
Okay. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.